prescribed amphetamines are the new opiates in terms of a crisis that we're waiting to deal with.
Treatment facilities have become part of big business.
I had to isolate a quote from your book as well, where you said that youth are more likely to abuse prescription stimulants than they are to abuse cocaine or amphetamines. Why are we seeing this particular trend as well? I mean, we've been touching on some of these points here, but if you could just elaborate specifically.
Young people have always been attracted to amphetamines because their world typically goes faster than everyone else's. They love that acceleration. So, at the end of the day, an adult might say, okay, I've worked hard today. I want to just get me to sit and relax. And the young person say, no, that's when I go. So they're more inclined to want to accelerate their body to begin with. Then other things are available to them. Adderall, for example, it started with college students cramming for tests. Now we see it in high schools. We see it everywhere, not just for study purposes. If you like amphetamines, Adderall is available. You can get that from anyone. It's a prescription, but it's always out there. So young people love to accelerate their lives. The other thing is we promote that. Coffee, energy drinks, they're out there. So I know even adults that start their day 2, 3, 4 cups of coffee. In the afternoon, they're drinking an energy drink. Mm-hmm. At night now, they're still wound. So you know what happens next. It's either the pot or the alcohol bring you down. Young people are following along. They've been for years. They are becoming very adept at mixing and matching the substances to get the desired effect. So they will speed their way through the day and down their way through the evening.
That is really scary. How do we get ahead of that as a society? I mean, it is fairly easy to get a prescription for stimulants. I mean, the official diagnosis is about 15. It's very expensive, but you don't need that. And so I feel like that lowering of the threshold to be able to acquire these drugs is bringing us to a point where it was easy for people to get prescribed opiates for pain management. Matter of fact, it was done so recklessly that there had to be interventions at the highest levels in our society. And so I want to know if you could talk about that, because I can't help but feel like prescribed amphetamines are the new opiates in terms of a crisis that we're waiting to deal with, unless we're already there.
It is already there. And, we have to look at the interplay between money companies, big money companies like the pharmaceutical companies, and government. And so often, pharmaceutical companies have the money to pad people's pockets. In the United States, we have the FDA, and they don't do what they should do in order to help people. Big Pharma runs the show. And, so the tolerance is there. The focus we're putting on drug help is not there the way it was. Mm-hmm. A lot of it's going online, which is really dangerous. The question is, how do you treat an addict online?
Yeah.
A good addict is an extremely good manipulator, a good liar, good person to convince you what they're doing. And all you're doing is seeing ahead on your camera. And that's the end of it. They come into my office and I see body language and I see how they're dressed and I see all different kinds of things. Picking out the addiction and getting ahead of them is a little easier. So the therapeutic measures we're using, we find that a lot more people are getting help, but the quality of the help has gone down significantly. And I don't want to knock people who do online counseling, but think about it. Online counseling came into the picture around the pandemic. So practitioners weren't getting out. So this was really practitioner-centered that this happened. We didn't do this. We say, if we put online counseling in, it's going to be much better for the people. We didn't do that. Mm-hmm. It's easier for us. I can stay at home and counsel. I can do my business from home. I can get my taxes a whole lot, clean up a whole lot of those things. Yeah. I can make a whole lot more money. And we're leaving people behind. So the way we treat people, government's not putting enough money into it. Insurance companies are not giving the kind of money for drug treatment they used to. It used to be quick 30 days. You got 30. Now you go in, they'll give you a week. Then rehab has to contact them and beg for more. and maybe get another week. They're being released from care before they're ready, which if you think about it is what happens with hospitals today. Used to be you might go in and you stay for 4 or 5 days. Now you get a surgery and you're home the next day.
That's true.
That's how we treat all these things. In essence, treatment facilities have become part of big business. Big business starts at the top with people like the pharmacological companies and the government agencies. They're not putting the money in. We are creating epidemics that are going to get so far out of hand. They're there now. We're just not giving the treatments that we used to. Inpatient programs, I would think there's about 50% of what used to be out there because they can't keep their doors open. They rely on insurance and government money to help people, and that's drying up.
That is very fascinating. Are you familiar with the concept of corporate social responsibility? So this year was a push by big corporation. I started reading about it regarding activities of corporations in Africa who say, well, you know what, we're going to try and give back to these communities in this kind of way to be able to offset the cost of carrying our business as we have to, because we have to carry our business. So they would implement vast social programs. They never really change. For a very long time, I felt like they're more about PR than they are, right?
That's what they're designed to do. They're short shelf life, most of those programs. And now I see where you're going with this. And they're designed to help the company who's making tons of money to say, well, look at what we're doing in this community and look at what we're doing here. And then people look at that and say, that's wonderful. And they run it for a while and then it dries up. And most of these programs, they may be around, or some version of them may be around a while, but it will never be what it was from the beginning because they will not continue to sink money in it. Because the reason for that is they open up a program and they don't say, let's look at everything we need because it would be 10 times the money. So they give a portion of the money, which never covered everything to begin with. So in the second and third year, as it's developing, they're saying, this is wonderful. Can we expand? Then no dollars to do that. So eventually it begins to wither. It was never designed to be all-inclusive, to be expansive, or to live long. It was designed to say, and every one of these companies has a branch that is designed to do the community outreach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Cigarette companies did it all the time.
Well, that says it all.
And then they put chemicals in the cigarettes to get you more addicted. So go figure.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I was like, hey, maybe if there could be more responsibilities placed on these programs because they're continuous and they're ongoing. But yeah, no, a little bit of wishful thinking on my part there.